Hey guys, I'm Steve the Collector. Let's talk about Pokemon. Today's topic is scalping, market value. What's the difference between scalping and selling at market value, and also, other details around that. Like retail, and just kind of what it does to the economy of Pokemon, to the collecting scene, to all of that. Right. So, I think to start though, we should get our definitions in order here. So, scalping. And I've looked up a few different definitions just to try to get it more worked out. But we all know what scalping is. If you're in the Pokemon industry or you're a collector of trading cards, you'll understand what scalping is in general. But the real definition is buying up goods or services that are in high demand before other consumers can get them, to sell them for a quick profit, right? So you're buying something that's in limited supply but high demand, and then you're reselling it at a quick profit. Usually, when we talk about scalping in the Pokemon industry, these are people that are going to stores or getting an in with somebody that has a connection that gets a lot of product. They're buying up tons of stock all at once, taking it all home with them, and then leaving nothing for the other collectors or interested buyers that are trying to get those products. And then they're turning around and selling them for what they can get online, usually causing some sort of market manipulation with the pricing. Now you can debate whether this actually causes market manipulation or if that's just the way that things are, and there's supply and demand in general. And I think there is a debate to go with this. I'm not saying that scalping doesn't happen, because it definitely does. And I kind of want to discuss different things though. But let's start with a few different things here. Let's start with retail. What is retail? It's the price set by the manufacturer for selling the product. So Pokemon, for example, the Pokemon Company has a retail price, an MSRP or an RRP, what they set for their products, right? So the distributor will sell. The Pokemon distributor will sell it to a business like us, and then we are expected to sell it for the MSRP or the RRP that Pokemon has set. That's the retail price. Then you have the market value. Market value is the price that the current demand, the current market is paying for the item. So maybe the retail price is 150 pounds or $150, but the market and everyone is paying 175 or 200 pounds, $200 for the same product, right? That's based on demand. So it's based on supply and demand, just like anything else. Any other commodity in the world has supply and demand, which sets the prices. But those are the terms, and the reason why we're talking about scalping is because when you have a person who, it could be a business owner, or it could be just a average Joe that just wants to make some extra money, right? When you have somebody who's going to buy all of these products, maybe they've got an in and they know when the shipment's coming, so they go right away, they get in, they buy all 100 boxes that came in that day. Nobody else gets any. They take them home and they resell them. Now, when we're talking about that, the reason why it's such a big thing in the Pokemon community right now is because demand is extremely high for Pokemon products this year. It's gotten progressively worse, not worse, but it's gotten progressively higher over the last year. And I think that's just it's a win for the community overall. We've got a lot more people that are playing, they're collecting, but you also have a lot more people investing, because you have people that have seen the returns on Pokemon year after year after year going up. You've got crazy returns if you bought in early, right? If you bought first edition cards or even just base set, unlimited things, products, sealed products, and you kept those sealed all these years, you've got extremely high returns, as high as something like 10,000% returns, which you just don't see on any other assets. There's very few things in the world that have appreciated as well as Pokemon over the last 25 years, they're almost 30 years. And that's why you see a lot of people, they're buying into this, right? And there's a lot of people investing, but you still have all of these new players, and you have all of these collectors. Maybe they just love Pikachu, or they just love whatever, Dragonite, right? And they just want to collect those things, or they just want to get into playing tournaments and things. And what you're finding now is that there's such a huge demand, which has then created, it's almost like a snowball effect, right? You've got this massive demand for products, and a very limited supply, which Pokemon is still, they're printing more and more and more cards every single year. They put out statements showing, their growth over the last however many years. It just keeps going up. Their actual printing supply just keeps going up. So it's not that Pokemon isn't creating enough product. They are creating a lot of product, but the demand is just so high, and it keeps going up, right? But you have a snowball effect, like I said, because what happens is you get this high demand, and then you have limited supply, and then people see it as a way to make additional money. So if you're not necessarily a scammer, but you're somebody who just wants to make a little bit extra money on the side, and you have a way to find a product that you know is going to sell, you're going to go and you're going to buy it and you're going to resell it and make some money, right? It's not really damning if you're just trying to make a buck, right? Make a living. But I think what happens and why people are getting so mad is that we all want these products. We either want them for ourselves as collectors or investors or players, or even businesses like us. We own a business and we do sell. We get all our product through distribution, but again, it's even hard to get enough product through distribution as it is. So we do try to source things where we can or if we need to elsewhere. But what you have is you have all these people that are trying to get the same product, and a lot of people that are finding ways to get to the product before the average end user can get to it, and it's really affecting the average collector, the average player that wants to get into into Pokemon. For those reasons, they're not looking to make a quick buck or to resell quickly. They're looking to actually collect or play or whatever it is. Those people are the ones that are now struggling. So I just want to kind of talk about these things and get your opinion as well in the comments. Definitely let us know what you think. But Pokemon is basically the new gold, right? It's the new hot commodity that a lot of people are jumping into as an investment, and that's causing this kind of snowball effect, this ripple effect with scalping and with people taking advantage of the space to try to make additional money. And we've seen it in a few different places. We've seen it in English, here in the UK. We see it. I hear about it all the time in the US as well. You see it on social media. Costco's are famous for having people running to try to get the pallets of products that come in, but even other stores here, Tesco's. I've seen it. I think it was Walmart or Target. I think it was Target actually in the U.S. that had issues as well, where people are just like running to try to clear out with the Pokemon product so they could take it home and try to make some money on it, right? Which then leaves no product for the average person that just wants to play or collect. So we've seen that it's becoming a pretty big issue, and I'm not against people making money. I think we are a business ourselves, but I think there's a way that you do that doesn't hurt the community that you're actually selling to, right? So what you have now is you have a lot of people that are trying to make money in a way that is actively hurting the community, and then you have people that are trying to make money more legitimate way, right? And I do get that it's a difficult industry to break into the legitimate way, going through distribution and all of that, but it is the way that it should be. And I kind of feel like a lot of people, they kind of feel the same way when it comes to this whole industry. I think Pokemon, a lot of businesses, but also a lot of end users, they just want product. If someone wants a box, a Prismatic Evolutions ETB, they should be able to buy that for £50, $50, roughly. But instead, they're having to pay double or more for that same product, which is just kind of crazy. And it's not their fault. It's not the legitimate business's fault. It's definitely the people that are buying the product in bulk, either hoarding it as an investment or immediately trying to flip it, and manipulate the market in some way. So that's kind of where we're talking about right now. And I want to get your opinion in the comments as well. What do you guys think about this whole situation with scalping? Do you think that it hurts the industry, or do you think that it's just more money, more good for everybody? I do think that it does inflate everything right now. We're definitely in a bubble, and it might continue for a while. This isn't any kind of financial advice or anything, but we have 30th anniversary for Pokemon coming up, and I think that so what we're kind of looking at is, yes, this year's already bubbled pretty big with Prismatic, and now with Journey Together coming. You've got Team Rocket coming as well. There's this kind of massive bubble at the moment, and it can't sustain, I don't think, forever. But you do have 30th anniversary coming next year, so potentially it could continue this way for another year, which would be really unfortunate for the end user who just wants, again, to rip some Pokemon packs or play the game, learn how to play with the new cards. Talk about a few other things as well, because we didn't really get into it, but one thing that there's tools that these scalpers are using, right, that we're seeing people using auto buying bots, so that if a store like for example Argos or Pokemon Center or Smith's Toys in the UK, any of these places, if they get new product in, there's these bots out there which they can detect these things, popping on the website or becoming available, and they automatically purchase them for the entity that owns the bot, right? So, or operates the bot. So those things are pretty damaging when you have, say, maybe a company gets 200 products in, maybe it's 200 boxes of whatever, and then all of a sudden it's bought within a minute or two of being launched on the website. You know that isn't end users going and grabbing 200 of those boxes because of notifications. Likely nobody even got a notification in that time frame, an email or anything, and it's just going straight to these bots that are buying things out. So that's definitely an issue. It really sucks for the end user. It sucks for the collector, the player. One thing that I didn't mention is that you have a lot of different entities trying to combat scalpers and combat this. People, I guess, people selling at market value. And I hate to say market value because I think market value, it is determined by supply and demand. But when a product just launches, it should be selling for retail price, right? That's reality. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any wiggle. There definitely can be. But I think that a lot of people, and maybe this is also something that we saw like 1 or 2 years ago when we had Scarlet and Violet booster boxes selling for £90. We're not making any money at £90, just to give you an idea. So if a booster box of Pokemon sells at £90, there's like no profit at all. There's no margin after taxes on that whatsoever for a business. It's very, very, very low. It's very slim. Not even worth doing, really. And the market was perfectly fine buying boxes, at 90, 95, 100 pounds for a long time. We saw that. So there wasn't much money in selling new Pokemon boxes up until the last year, really. So I do like market value is a funny thing because it's perfectly fine when it's below retail, right? Everyone's like happy. Oh yeah, a box is selling for £100, great. When retail is like 143 or 150, whatever. It's right around that, between 140, 150, whatever it is now. They just raised it during Scarlet and Violet era, but if it's selling below market, everyone's like, or below retail price, everybody's super happy with that. But if it's above retail price, then everybody's like, that's scalping, right? So I'm not totally against prices being above or below retail price. Whatever the market value is, that's kind of where we usually sell products at. But as a business as well, and a lot of businesses, they're kind of hamstrung by retail. They have to sell at retail, and then you have these people that are buying products at retail and selling them for sometimes double or even more, which is where you have a lot of issue, right? So, but just to get off that topic a little bit, so we have some groups and things. I've seen some posts lately about people trying to combat scalpers. So we did see one Facebook group that specifically, it was a Pokemon selling group that specifically said that they will not allow any posts selling the product above retail for the first 2 weeks at launch. Again, not sure if I agree with that or disagree with that. It's up to the Facebook group how they want to operate, but you're kind of hamstringing anyone that does want to sell it, outside of the retail price, right? Which again, nobody would complain though if it was at well under retail price, right? So it's kind of one of those weird things, like you're as a business, is it, what makes sense for you, right? But kind of moving off of that, so I just wanted to kind of show some of these memes as well because there's a lot of funny things going on with scalping. So I've kind of saved some memes here. We're going to look over a few of these things here. All right, so I've got a meme here. It's from Spider-Man. When you go to a store 6 hours before it opens to buy out all of the Pokemon cards from the children's toy section to resell on Facebook for 200% retail. I'm something of an investor myself. Yes, I remember that quote. It's a good one. I love the thinking lady. The thinking lady meme is so funny. Scalpers thinking of ways to scalp the new TCG Pocket set. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting if that happens. Then everything's on fire. Me collecting Pokemon cards again. You got scalpers, expensive packs, Charizards. Everything's on fire. Okay, funny. This is the Leonardo DiCaprio from what's that movie? Shutter Island, right? When he's like, yeah, it's like a mental hospital, right? When you visit your friend's house and find out he's a scalper. Billions of boxes of cards there. Poke investors explaining how scalpers are ruining the hobby. And you've got all this product behind the investor. Now this is a funny thing though, because there is a difference between hoarding and scalping, right? But a lot of scalpers are hoarding the product initially, but they're just turning it for a quick profit usually. Whereas, investors are buying it and just holding it for X amount of time until they make the return that they want on the product, right? So it's a bit of a different play there on are they scalpers? If they're buying out stores, or buying out products, say they're buying, all 50 ETBs that came into a store, right? I mean, they are scalpers, you could say, in some way, or at least hoarders that are hurting the average Joe, right? Uh, the starter pack, Pokemon Scalper starter pack. You got big boxes, eBay seller account, a watch for getting to the store on time, right? And the sweatpants, gotta love it. Yeah, me looking up in line at the scalper with his stack of 52 Pokemon booster bundles. Sad day. Yeah. That's all I got for you today. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I would love to hear what you think about scalpers. Have you been affected by this as a collector, as a player, as a investor, or as a business? Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you have an opinion. I've seen some people have such varying opinions on the whole thing, right? So some people are like, let bygones be bygones. If someone wants to make a quick buck or whatever, that's on them. It's up to the market to decide whether to buy from them or not. It seems like about half the people have that opinion, and I've seen a lot of other people as well saying like, F the scalpers. If I see a scalper, I'm gonna say something to them. I'm gonna yell at somebody at a store. I'm gonna waste people's time online if I see them trying to sell something for 3 times retail, whatever, right? So let me know what you think in the comments. Again, my name is Steve. We own Card Collectors UK, registered business in the UK that's been trading for almost 3 years. We do have a website, cardcollectorsuk.com. Jessie Girl is my partner, and she's the one that does all our amazing artwork in our website as well. Coloring books are coming, by the way, this week. So, appreciate you guys joining the video. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Please subscribe, like the video as well. Hit that little notification bell, and we'll be uploading more video and content like this. Let us know in the comments if there's anything you specifically want to talk about as well, because let's talk about Pokemon. We want this to be a regular series and talk about some really fun things within the scene. Having a kind of both of a collecting but also a business perspective, hopefully that gives you guys some extra value and insight into what's going on. So again, thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.